Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another insurance sales success training call. If you are watching this on YouTube at a future date, you can watch these trainings live at daviddufour.com/ISS, a free insurance sales training site for those who are new into the business and looking for quality material. There's no cost to join. Thanks for being here. So I like doing these recurring trainings basically every week, where we bring in a different professional and a different type of niche to kind of give us a rundown about how the business works and what the details are. And today I have my good friend in the business, Mr. Luis Moreno. He is DeFord Insurance Group's Medicare and ACA trainer. And the reason he's here is really to give you guys a good introduction on what Medicare is as far as the sales opportunity is, why you should consider it, in what circumstances and maybe not what circumstances, and kind of really put together a beginner's guide to how it all works so that you get a good idea if it's a good fit for you or not. So, Luis, I'm going to bring you right in. Greetings and salutations. Give us a little rundown about yourself, your personal testimony, for those of you out there who are unfamiliar with Luis. Go ahead, Luis. Sorry.
Yes. So I look like I'm 20, so I haven't been in the business that long. That's what you guys are thinking. All right. Yeah, no, whatever. No, I've been in business since 99, guys. So I've been doing it for a while. I've been doing very heavily a lot of Medicare sales, health insurance sales, group insurance sales, and then opened up a P&C agency, got that running like it is a machine. I've got a great staff that's taking care of that. And then about 10 years ago, I went heavily back into Medicare and ACA. So my personal stats are, I have about 1,000 or so, give or take, throughout every single month it changes, Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement clients, with 90% of that book being Medicare Advantage. Okay, that's just my clientele. We're on the threshold of ACA, about 3,000 something households, maybe 5,000 heads on the ACA side of the business. And finally, just, there's always that saying, David, those that can't do, teach. Well, I'm that one exception. I am doing, I just got bored. I'm literally, when I had the opportunity to come in and start training agents, it wasn't because I wasn't doing, it's just because I love the evolution in this business. And now I love training. It's just, I still have my powerhouse machine selling. And, we're still writing policies, we're still growing, but I love selling. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, Luis is a renaissance man in the business. It's funny how, we talk a lot about, as a side note, I truly believe mastering one thing is your best course for the average person to get success out of the business. But then you run across these polymaths or renaissance guys like Luis, literally does it all at peak performance. It's amazing. And how he does it, well, his team, we'll give them a pat on the back. They're a very important component, but we'll save that for another call. Let's talk Medicare. So again, Luis, walk us through kind of just a 1,000-foot overview of what Medicare sales is all about. Again, thinking and remembering that most of the people here are new to the business.
Okay, so Medicare, normally when we're talking Medicare, we're talking about people that are 65 and older. That is the majority of our clientele. You will have a few that are under 65 that have Medicare, and those are people that have been on disability for 2 years or more. But the majority of our business is the over 65 market. Now, these people, when they enroll in Medicare, they're going to get two things. So they're going to get A and B. And literally, it's A and B, Part A and Part B. So they will take care of that with Social Security. And, we're completely hands off when it comes to that.
And Part A and Part B is essentially what we call original Medicare. So everybody's entitled to it. When you start 65 or 2 years post disability, you're going to start original Medicare. So you may be thinking, okay, what am I selling if the government and our system gives Medicare for free? Luis, explain to the audience, what are you actually selling if people are automatically enrolled in Medicare when they retire and turn 65?
Beautiful. And you nailed it right there. So think of A as the facility, okay, the hospital, the wall. Think of B everything inside that facility, the doctors, the nurses, the meds that they're going to prescribe you, the IV and the aspirin and the Band-Aids and that kind of stuff. The problem with original Medicare and the way it works is most people, when you've worked at least 10 years, 40 quarters, you're going to get Part A for free. Now, Part B, the majority of people are going to have to pay a premium for Part B. It's $164, I think. They're going to pay for that every single month. There are a few select people whose income and assets are so low that the state Medicaid system of their resident states will pay that for them. So that's original Medicare. Now, original Medicare has never been designed to just cover everything. There's a lot of gaps in original Medicare. Gap number one is it only covers 80% of the bill, okay? Gap number two is in the facility area, there's a deductible of $1,600 per benefit period. And it's not like a deductible like you're thinking, oh, it's a deductible one time a year. No. It's a deductible, and these seniors, these Medicare beneficiaries have the potential of having 6 of these in 1 year. Okay, so it's huge. It's a huge liability. And also that 20% that they're going to be on the hook for has no limit. Okay, you're like, well, at this point, you're like, man, that sucks. Okay, I'm going to make it even suckier. Okay, check this out. Okay, in addition to that, there's no prescription coverage. Okay, so they go to Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, there's no prescription coverage. Okay, I just made it worse. On top of that, I'm going to make it even worser. I got my own vocabulary, guys. So to make it even worse, now these people aren't getting all the benefits that they hear about on TV. The dental, the vision, the hearing, the gym membership, the over-the-counter, all the goodies that they keep seeing on TV about these commercials that are out there. None of that is included in original Medicare.
And so to pop in here, just to make sure everybody's clear here, the sales opportunity is that what our wonderful government provides our people who retire is inadequate, right? Does it make sense? Like there are holes in the coverage that the average senior who's living hand to mouth, doesn't have a lot of retirement, very few people retire with anything, that if they end up in the hospital, they're broke. They can't afford it. There's a big fear factor there. And what we do as agents, where we come in, as Luis will get in here in a moment, is there are products, private products that companies that we've all heard of sell in order to fill the gaps, or in some variations, come up with their own version of something very similar to an employer-based plan that has co-pays and deductibles to better manage the cost expense. So that is the sales opportunity to the client. So Luis, to build on that, there's really 2 different types of products that Medicare agents have access to. And sometimes there's some confusion here. We have what's called Medicare supplements, right? And then we have Medicare Advantage. Can you give again, a basic overview of how these 2 products work?
Yes. And it's like a car or a truck. So think about that, guys. What is better? So Gary, I see you, man. We got your camera on you. Gary, what is better for you, a car or a truck?
Definitely a truck, just because I have to haul some stuff around.
Okay, I'll go to Rama there. Rama, what's better for you, a car or a truck? You're on mute, Rama. You're on mute. Rama, you're muted, Rama. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Incidentally, I have Medicare supplement plan and a truck.
Okay.
And even my Part A is not covered. I'm paying on my own.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm with you. So what I was trying to make there is that everybody will probably choose either a car or a truck depending on their needs. Okay. And there's not a right answer. The truck is right for him, but maybe for Chris, I saw him come on the camera there. Maybe for Chris, the car is better for him for whatever the reason may be. So in our Medicare world, it is super easy.
Car is definitely better for me, by the way.
There you go, man. There you go. For whatever the reason is, he wants a Ferrari. Okay. So we're going to get him his Ferrari. All right. So again, Chris is not right or wrong, and neither is Gary, neither is Rama. All right. So you have these two options, car or truck. So in our world, what happens is we offer the car or the truck. So we present to them and we say, okay, Mr. Client, I'm so glad that you got part A and part B. But now you have these holes in your coverage, these gaps, these financial responsibilities that can ruin your day. So here's how we're going to fill in the gaps. We can go with option one. And option one, when we teach our agents how to do this, option one is a Medicare supplement with a prescription drug plan. That's option one. Option two, we can offer you a Medicare Advantage plan. And they're looking at me like, okay, great. You just gave me the car and the truck. I still don't know which one to go with. So now I'm going to give you all the pros and cons to option one and all the pros and cons to option two. And then literally we as agents need to step back and let them decide.
So let's describe it, what those differences are for the audience. What is a Medicare Advantage plan? How does it work? And what is a Medicare supplement plan and how does it work?
Beautiful. So let's go with option one, the supplement. Okay. The supplement is a plan that fills in all the gaps that Medicare has. Okay. That's the positive thing on it. You're left with a small deductible, $233, I believe. That's it. You pay that $233 the beginning of the year. For the remainder of that year, you will not pay a penny for medical services. Okay, you have no doctors to worry about, no doctor network, no specialist network, no doctor hospital network. You go to any medical provider facility that accepts Medicare. That's it.
What's the catch? That sounds really good, Luis. Why isn't that always the best option?
You're like, well, why wouldn't I want to have that? Well, normally people they want that, but they can't afford it. They didn't prepare for retirement. And now they're living on that measly Social Security check. And they have to pay a premium for that Medicare supplement. And they have to pay a premium for that prescription drug plan. Normally, those two combined is about $135.
So we've got a really good plan, covers all the holes, but the catch is for a fixed income senior, it could be very expensive, and they go up in price too over time.
Every year. And there's two ways these things go up, guys. They go up because of an age band that they hit, and every carrier has a different age band, or they go up because that carrier experienced a ton of claims. They're in the red, and they're just going to do an overall rate increase for everybody.
So for those people who can't afford supplements, they go to Medicare Advantage. Explain to us how Medicare Advantage plans work and how they're different from supplements.
Right. So we're showing this in the supplement world. Everybody would want to get it. The problem is the finance. That's the only con or the only negative to option one. Now, option two, and why I have about 90% of my book, and across the country right now, the statistic that I've been seeing, it used to be lopsided, where it was more med sup and less advantage. And now it's at about 50-50. Okay. The advantage to the Medicare Advantage is that there's no premium. So people love it.
And we mean by no premium that unlike supplements, you're paying $125, $150 a month for. The Medicare Advantage plans, you don't pay anything. Now you paid into it. Technically, it's not free. It's a zero premium. So there's no monthly out-of-pocket expense. Please continue.
Beautiful. Yeah, there is a premium, guys, but Medicare is paying it to the carrier. It's done behind the scenes. The insurers don't even worry about it. I don't even know what they pay, but they're paying that carrier a chunk of change every month. And what happens now is that senior or that beneficiary gets that plan with whatever carrier they decide to go with, and that carrier covers all of their costs, everything. Nothing gets billed to Medicare. Okay, that carrier replaces Medicare. It's a Medicare replacement. It replaces it completely. And now that carrier has a network that the insured needs to stay in. If it's an HMO, if it's a PPO, they'll have in-network and out-of-network benefits. But what happens here is it's a pay-as-you-go system. Okay, as you utilize it, you will be paying either co-pays or co-insurance. And the copays aren't bad. You're like, well, they're going to hammer them. No, they're not. So if they end up going to see a primary doctor, the copay is usually $0. If they go see a specialist, $20. If they get hospitalized, they will have a per day cost, usually at around $100, $75 for an HMO. On a PPO, it can get as high into the 300 or 400s, depending on your area.
And so again, we're looking at pay as you go, as opposed to the supplements where you're really paying up front in the premium, but there's no expenses, right? But for Medicare Advantage, you end up in the hospital, you got to go to a doctor, you're going to start incurring payments and pay as you go, exactly like Luis says. What are some other benefits of the Medicare Advantage plan?
So the beauty, and this is why all these seniors, in addition to the fact that they're not paying any premiums, but why these seniors want these plans is because of all the goodies that are given to them. We call those goodies extra benefits. So we're talking about dental. They will, some plans will cover up to Cigna. I just found this out. Cigna covers 20 grand in dental benefits. How do you spend 20 grand on a dentist? I have no idea. But most carriers are 2 to 3 grand. You'll have vision benefits, which will cover the exam and your frames. They'll have hearing benefits, hearing test with hearing aid coverage. They'll get a gym membership. They'll get transportation. Some of these seniors, depending on where they're at, they may get over-the-counter benefits where they can buy over-the-counter items like Pepto-Bismol, Band-Aids, first aid items. And they're even combining it now with a food cart where they can buy groceries every month.
They'll literally give you cash money, guys, like your clients, to go buy TV dinners with. I mean, that's how it's gotten with the Medicare Advantage stuff. There's just so much more free benefits with them. So we got to ask them, Luis, what is best? What should you sell if you're a Medicare agent? Should you just sell supplements with prescription plans? Should you sell Medicare Advantage plans? What do you do?
So here's the beauty, guys, is when we train and when you contract with our organization and through David, we train you on offering both products. So Gary, I may go to Gary and present and teach Gary a little bit about Medicare, because that's how we do a compliant presentation. I'm going to educate Gary as a Medicare beneficiary. And then I'm going to tell Gary, hey, Gary, what do you want? You want option 1 or you want option 2? And then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let Gary tell me what he wants. Okay. And then I'm going to go to client number 2. Hey, it's Tammy. Hey, Tammy, I present to her. Like, Tammy, tell me which is the way you want to go, Tammy. Do you want to go option 1 or do you want to go option 2? You can't do both. It's one or the other. And there's no option 3, guys. Option 3 is what I call, and I use this term between us agents, running naked. That's what I tell. My agents call me like, hey, I got a senior, he's running naked. I'm like, oh, hell no. We don't want to see those 65-year-old running naked. That means that they only have part A and part B. So I use that term with our agents, and those like, Luis, I got a running naked senior. I'm like, okay, what do we got to do? We got to cover them up. So there is not a 3. It's a 1 or a 2. Now, you guys, all of you all here, you're going to get set up to offer option 1. So we'll set you up with med sub carriers. We'll set you up with prescription drug companies. And we'll set you up with Medicare Advantage companies. So you're going to go in there. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't get a sell. You're going to be completely set up.
Yeah. And I'll add this too. That's the beauty of this market, is that you don't have to make a choice to push one product or the other. Okay. You are the broker. You're the guy that runs the car lot that sells both trucks and cars. You don't want a car, Mr. Prospect, buy this truck. I got it all. It's essentially how we teach agents to operate. And the last thing I'll say before I turn it back over to you, Luis, is that there's this stream of thought that occurs in the Medicare space where there's almost like this moralizing about how Medicare supplements are better. And if you don't sell Medicare Advantage, you're doing your clients a disservice. It reminds me of the Dave Ramsey buy term and invest a difference, maniacal talk that he's so fond of. There's no best plan. There's a best plan for an individual person. And the best thing you can do as an agent is figure out what their needs are, what their financial restrictions are, and what they want to accomplish, and show them the options in an educational format like what we teach, and let them choose, as opposed to being relegated to pushing one product. Because we know that people who push product and who say everything else is bad and this is good, those are the people we got to be worried about. And that's exactly the opposite of what we teach. Luis?
I agree with you. Yeah, we present pros and cons to both the car and the truck, and we tell them. Now, let's just say that they choose option one, a med sub. Time to go to work. Okay, you will have your lineup of carriers. So rates are based on areas. So in my area, I love Mutual of Omaha. I started with them back in '99. I'm an old dog. I don't want to learn a new trick. So I already know how their system works. Their rates are great, and I like using them. Now, my buddy down the street probably will promote Aetna or Cigna or Humana. There's no wrong. You will have your own lineup. Okay.
So wait a minute. Let's hit something here real quick, and we want to be clear on this. So are you saying that as an agent, you should just work with one company?
Ooh, no. Nope, definitely not. That's the beauty of the car lot, guys. You're going to have the BMW, the Mercedes, the Toyota, the Buick, the Ford, and the Chevy at that lot.
Yeah, it's not just the Toyota Corolla versus the Toyota 4Runner or the Tacoma. It's you have those and every other brand. Does that make sense? Yep. You want to be an independent broker in the Medicare space, because then you're not forced to push product, not just a type of plan like supplements versus Advantage, but through different companies. And if you have that ability, and you do, at least with us, you're not married to anybody. You do what's best for the client every time, because you have options. That's powerful. That's how you get more clients. That's how you keep more clients. As we'll talk about, retention is very important in this business. Yep. But I wanted to hit on that so everybody understands. So let's keep moving here, Luis. Kind of moving through a fast hour here. So Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements. We generally know the difference. Let's talk about prospecting, because we can't talk about selling insurance successfully without having the conversation. Where do you find these people? How do you get in front of these people? So can you explain kind of what you've done, and well as what we've taught our agents to do when it comes to prospecting and lead generation for Medicare, please?
I will. And I'm going to, before I do that, one thing, and then you guys are probably thinking, well, how do I differentiate carriers? Guys, I would just tell you, we teach you to do a job. And the job is to gather some data. Just imagine you walk into a doctor's office and he looks at you. He's like, I'm going to give you this. You'll be like, what do you mean? You didn't even take my temperature. You can offer me this without doing some diagnosis? I'm like, take my temperature, take my blood pressure, ask me some questions. All right, we teach you how to do that. And then based on the answers you get, you're going to do your job and research a plan. And the research isn't days, guys. It's literally done on the spot. You're going to click, and you're going to come up, hey, I found a plan. And that's the one you're going to offer.
Yeah, really is. Now, way less overwhelming than you might think. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. This is not overwhelming, guys. Now, when it comes to prospecting, guys, so you've got to get yourself in front of seniors. And I will tell you right now, a direct mail is king. That's it. In the Medicare world, direct mail is king. Okay, those leads, they stay on the shelf longer. You're getting in front of people that want help, need help. Usually we're targeting lower income seniors. And these are people that you can write year long. So I would say without a doubt, low income. Now, or I'm sorry, direct mail. Now there's other ways of doing it, but you cannot be direct mail for a new agent. My method, completely different. I farm. Okay. So I have a big farm, and my farm is my ACA book of business. So I'm making money from my farm, but eventually these people are getting old and aging into Medicare. And of course, I'm writing those people. Beautiful thing.
I'll add here, for the vast majority of agents that work with us, they don't have an existing book of business. They may have some final expense clients, but that runs out. If you've done it for a year, you might have a couple hundred at best, and good scenarios. You'll work through that within a month, maybe 2 months tops. So you have to have some kind of duplicatable system. And what we have seen work time and again, and what our top producers all across the board do, is direct mail, just like Luis said. We have referrals to quality direct mail vendors that provide leads, fresh and exclusive. They're not resold a million times. You control where the leads are dropped. One cool thing that we offer is we know which vendors provide compliant leads. That's a new challenge now in the Medicare space because it's intimately tied with the government. They care about how things are presented in a certain way, and you have to be compliant. The vendors that we work with know how to do it compliantly, but also make sure that your response rates are high, that you're getting a good flow of leads coming back. We understand the business. It's very important to have that. And direct mail works, telesales or face-to-face. But I want to go back real quick to what you said earlier. Crap, and I forgot what I was going to ask.
They're doing your job, that kind of deal, maybe.
All these old people. You just hang around them, and you start forgetting like they do.
You're getting old. You're getting old, David.
I am. I'm almost 40 in like 2 years. So
yeah, I wish I could say that.
I
just hit 52, David.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So I think I feel your pain. So wait a minute, Luis. Wait a minute. I thought you could only sell Medicare at the end of the year during what's called annual election period. You mean to tell me we can sell Medicare all year long? Please explain.
Yeah. So yes, guys, we are not the typical agent or agency. Most agents come out of their hole during the annual enrollment, which starts October the 15th and ends December the 7th. However many of those days, 63, whatever amount of days they are, that time period is when, if you're watching TV at home during that time period, you are inundated with Medicare Advantage ads. I mean, it's just like, it's nonstop. I hate that time of the year. I'm reading my newspaper, and yes, I get the regular paper. I love it. I get the regular paper, and there's an ad God, there are always so many ads during that time period. Super frustrating. All right. During that time period, everybody comes out. What these people are doing during that time is they're keeping their business. So they're talking to their book of business. Yes, your plan's renewing. Here are the changes. You stay, or maybe they need to move to a new plan. It's a time of the year where you see all the action. Now, December the 7th happens, and most of these agents will go back into their hole. They're done. Okay, we don't come. We're still out there. We don't even have a hole to go to. Okay, that's what it comes down to. The way we operate.
So how do we sell outside of AEP? Can you explain that?
Oh yeah. So now we're outside of AEP, outside of December the 7th, and then we get into the regular non-AEP year, which is everything between December the 7th or January the 1 and October the 15th. We have enrollment periods. We utilize open enrollment, which is the first quarter. When we're doing direct mail, we're targeting people that we can write using low income, because these people will have subsidies. We're targeting people that have Medicare and Medicaid. We're targeting people that have specific chronic illnesses like diabetes, which is huge in the Medicare market, in the senior market. We're targeting, sometimes in some areas, you may have some plans that have 5 stars, so you can write those all year. And then in a lot of areas, CMS, which is the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, or Medicare and Medicaid Services, whatever, one of those terms, what they do is they will issue a disaster. And they're so trigger happy. There's a fire. Oh, there's a disaster. Well, what they do is they create this disaster that allows you to write people. So there's a lot of opportunity to write business all year long. AEP is just like, it's nothing special to us. It's just continuation of what we're doing throughout the year.
Yeah, 100%. And that's great. So, and what you'll find is, I think in many ways, and then we're going to talk about the money side of this. I think we need to transition and talk about, okay, all this sounds great. Why would I want to sell it? What's the income look like? I think it's actually easier to sell off of annual election period. That's when everybody can switch out their plans. What we was talking about, 15th of October to December 7th. If you start then, and a lot of you may be thinking that the problem with starting then is you aren't getting paid till January, February on all those pieces of business you wrote, but you're going to pay for all the marketing that gets out there. So there's a very prolonged period of time where there's no cash flow. But if you start in January, February, March, even this time of year, when you write a policy, you're getting advanced a commission up front. It's a little bit easier to cover your expenses. So for those of you who are thinking like, well, I like the idea, let me start during AEP, it's actually the toughest time. And my experience is that most people can't wait 3 or 4 months to get a nice check. Like, they'd rather get paid quicker, and off-season sales are the route to do it. So speaking of money, Luis, What is the money potential out of Medicare? Give us a brief rundown of what is appealing short and long term about selling Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplements.
All right. So I will tell you, number one, Medicare is a long-term game. Okay. It's not like final expense where there's a ton of upfront money and very little back-end money. Medicare is the complete opposite. Okay. But it's not that low. Okay, guys. So let's talk MedSup first. MedSup, normally, Dave, what would you say? 20% commission?
Yeah. So I would say $200 to $300 a year.
Yeah.
Or in most cases, in most states, 6 years. So you're going to get a check for $250 to $300 annually for 6 years. Some states it's shorter, but a little higher commission. Some states it's longer, but lower commission. Some states it's low commission and low first year commissions. Like it's just bad all over. But most of the states are going to be about 6 years at about $250 to $300 in your pocket as long as you keep that client. Go ahead, Luis.
So that's MedSup, guys. Throw that one to the side here because this is where it gets beautiful. Okay. Medicare Advantage. If you write somebody who is new to Medicare, okay, this is the holy grail. This is what everybody chases. It's that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. These new people that are turning 65, you make $601 for that enrollment for the entire first year. Okay. Now, everybody's chasing them, including the massive carriers like United and Humana with unlimited budgets. All right. So you'll run into those every now and then. But where we make our money is on the renewals, which on the Medicare side, and guys, make sure you listen to this. You should be like, what? Lifetime renewals. Lifetime, guys. Okay. Not 6 years, not 10 years. Okay. Lifetime, as long as those clients are yours, you're making lifetime renewals. Now, this is what the renewals look like. You get $301 from every client that you have. And you're like, all right, let's start running some real numbers here. Every 100 clients is $30K. So you want a 10
for life.
You want a 5-figure income renewals, you need 400 clients. That's it. 400 clients will make you $120,000 a year in renewals.
For life each year.
I
like clarifying that because residual income, it's life-changing. And it's not just a one-time thing. It's as long as you keep those people, they keep paying. Or they're not paying you, the companies keep paying. It's a nice thing.
Yep. So that's how I do the math, guys. Every 100 is $30K, 260, 390, 400, 120. And you can do the math on there. That's what is so appealing about Medicare Advantage is that, remember, the insured is not paying any premium for this. Okay. It's a $0 premium, but you're getting paid this amount of money every single month. And it is beautiful.
So let me jump in here, cover a couple of things. Number one, if you live in a high household income state like California, Connecticut, there's a couple others those numbers are actually a little bit higher. Okay. They're adjusted for the higher household or average income rates. It's not a substantial amount, but it's enough to notice. So, but what we're describing here is the norm in probably about 45 of the 50 states, roughly. The other thing, so residual income sounds great. What's the catch, Luis? I think it's important to kind of qualify that. Like everybody likes the idea of making 100 grand plus on autopilot. What are the catches to Medicare that agents need to come into the business to make sure that they're doing well? And actually accomplish that. Go ahead.
The biggest catch, guys, is that you're going to lose probably 20% of that book
every year.
Okay, every year. So you cannot write and forget it. So you got to remember, there's agents like you out there too, hustling. So you've got to get out there and you got to maintain your book. Okay. Also, there's a couple of things you can't control. And I got one notice today, and I'm like, God, I'm so mad at them. What do you think they did? They died on me. They freaking died. One of my insureds died. They just took $301 out of my pocket.
What's wrong with
I'm not being too sensitive there. No, one of my insureds passed away. I got an email notice from the carrier, said, hey, your client so-and-so passed away. You know, you can't control them passing away. You can't control them relocating. And then if you fall asleep at the wheel, you can't prevent another agent from doing what you did to gain that client in the first place.
So real quick here, Luis, number one, if you guys got questions, we're going to open this up for questions here in a minute. So please use the chat to put your questions in. We want to make sure we answer some of your questions. So if you really have questions, throw them down there. We'll be happy to really spend up to the top of the hour to answer them. But yes, I have to comment on this because this is something that is so important. This is what really marks the difference between a life-driven business, a life insurance sales-driven business, and a Medicare-driven business. With life insurance, the way the commission structure is designed, it's a one-call close. From a financial standpoint, even if you write a 1,000 AP deal and you made $1,200 up front, your residuals on that are probably going to be $50 a year. Who cares, right? A couple bucks a month. Nobody cares, right? So you're not incentivized to follow up with the client. You're not incentivized to take care of them to the extent that you would be and will be with Medicare. Because in order to make that annual income for life, you have to show up. You have to, because if you stop serving your clients, if you're not playing just as much defense, taking care of your clients you sold, returning their phone calls, making sure they're happy, making sure that they're satisfied, they will just switch plans somewhere else, okay? We've seen agents who are awesome life insurance producers transition into the Medicare space. They write a lot of business, but they don't follow up, and they don't lose 20%. They lose like a third to 40% of their business because they just don't do the work that you have to do if you're going to be in this business. And the thing is, guys, if you do a financial profile, the difference between a 80% of your book sticking on the business versus 70% over 5 years, it's amazing how much less money you'll make. So you have to take care of your people. And yeah, they're going to die. Yeah, they're going to move. Yeah, they're going to switch plans, even if you do everything right. But I will say on the flip side, the nice thing about Medicare, they refer to death. If you're crushing it and you're helping your people, they're going to refer everybody they know. They all sit at Hardee's every morning and talk about how their healthcare sucks, well, that your client won't, and they'll want to talk to you. So there's a lot more referrals out of it. But I want to stress everybody here, if you're going to get in the Medicare game, don't treat this like you're selling vacuums or you're selling a one-off deal and you don't need to care. You have to care. You have to be there. Otherwise, it's just don't do it.
Now, David, I'm going to ask you this. All right. So a new agent writes 400 policies on his own. How is he going to have the time to take care of that book of business?
I mean, for me, what we instruct our agents to do is you have to turn yourself away from, you think about Luis. Luis isn't doing this on his own. He's got a team behind him that he's trained. They're profit centers, as Luis likes to say. They better be at Luis's office. And he's got a team of people that help with this, right? Now, this is like longer term problems, right? But it's just what happens with the growing, scaling business. You cannot do everything. And the things you need to do are the highest income producing activities. And then you need to start bringing in people to support the rest. What do you think, Luis? Is that the right answer?
So people, you have to have a team. I mean, I have a Superman picture of my team. I'm sitting in the front, doing my little, and I got my entire team backed up. So I have a team. I got a huge payroll, but they make me look great. Second is we have automations. Okay. We have CRMs that work for us. Yeah. So one of the things that we teach you guys, and we'll give you, and David can set you up with a CRM, is we have workflows that I've created that will communicate on your behalf to the seniors throughout the year. So the senior things that you're texting them and you're emailing them, nah, you're not doing that. You're just plugging them in and you're hitting, whatever, you're hitting the run button. And then throughout the year, that senior is getting emails and text messages from you saying, hey, David, hey, I love you, man. How's everything going? I hope you're doing well. By the way, you have a Medicare Advantage plan. Don't forget to utilize your dental. Remember, you got 2K. You better make that appointment. And then the next month, David, what's up, dude? Hey, don't forget you have vision. You need to go get your eyes checked. Okay. You know, I see some seniors that have 2 pairs of glasses, one on top of the other. And I'm like, go get your glasses fixed. The 3rd month, David, dude, you're getting a little chunky, buddy. You better get to the gym there. Better start working out. Now, I don't say that to the seniors, but I will tell them, hey, don't forget, if you're paying for a gym membership or you want to go but can't afford one, your plan covers the gym membership. Here's where you call your carrier and ask them to set you up. And I have a whole series of contacts in the CRM that talks to these seniors and lets them know what's going on. In addition to that, when it gets to October, the CRM knows that it's October. It knows which people have Medicare Advantage, and it sends them and you a reminder. Hey, Luis, just want to let you know, it's annual enrollment 2 weeks from now. Remember, I can help you. Do not talk to any other agents. Okay. You have no idea anything about them, whatever, I scare them. I'm like, they're going to steal your information. They're going to steal your identity. Don't go to them. Just stick with me. Okay. If you want to move to a different plan, I've got that plan. I will help you.
So a couple of things here. One thing I want to comment on, then we're going to jump into questions. So guys, you got questions, got about 15 minutes here. Make sure to throw them in the chat. We're going to go through as many as we can. And I'll answer this, Luis. There are some of you who are brand new to insurance sales, and you may be thinking, this sounds like a fantastic opportunity. Medicare it is a very good opportunity. However, I'm of the persuasion, and Luis may differ from me, and I'm okay with different opinions, but I think most agents shouldn't start with Medicare. And here's the reason why. The first year commission, typically when you account for costs associated with purchasing leads, it's very thin margins the first year. Medicare has always been a long-term setup where if you put the time and the effort in the beginning, the income isn't as good as you will make in life insurance sales. But over time, 5+ years, the guys that are making bank big time, not just big money, but residual money, are typically in a residual-based product like PNC or Medicare or ACA. So our strategy at DeFord Insurance Group is to start the vast majority of our people with final expense because that pays the bills. It's a simple product. There's lots of prospects. But over time, if the agent decides to start integrating Medicare, usually somewhere 6 to 12 months after they get started. Because at that point, the final expense side becomes a bit more smooth, predictable. You're not thinking, I don't know if I'm going to make it next week. Who knows what's going to happen, right? You kind of know what you're doing. That's when it's safe for the average agent to take on another product. And unless you're somebody who's financially secure, your spouse takes care of all the bills, you don't have to make money to retain a sense of income predictability. In that case, it's okay to start with Medicare, in my opinion. Now, let's take some questions here in the chat. Ellen asks, what would the average cost of marketing for AEP be for 8 weeks? It just depends, right? I mean, I would buy as many. Here's how I look at it. Luis, you answer this. Work as much as humanly possible during AEP. Everybody's a prospect. Everybody's open-minded to changing. Everybody will sit down with you. You need to fill every single day that you're willing to work and how many hours you're willing to work with as many leads as possible. I mean, your budget would definitely work. Don't get me wrong. But that's when you want to go full tilt. Luis, you want to comment on that?
I will. So there's things that you can do that cost money. Obviously, buying leads costs money. But there's a lot of things that you're going to want to do in addition to that. A lot of grassroots marketing. You've got to get your feelers out there with other organizations, senior centers. I love flea markets. Okay. And then these carriers, you can partner with carriers. Some of our top agents, they're getting paychecks from the insurance companies to help buy leads. And so, yeah, they have lead costs, but they're reimbursing themselves with what the carriers are giving them. So you've got that opportunity. Right. One of our agents, he just showed me his presentation. He got it approved with 2 carriers, David. We need to talk about this. He had 55 people at his first seminar.
Wow.
55 people at his first seminar. I looked at it. I'm like, he's like, dude, this is so easy. He showed me the presentation. He goes, yeah, let's share it with everybody. 55 people at his seminar. Piece of cake. And stripped down version of Medicare 101. I was like, this is awesome. So there's a lot of things that you can do that are like planting seeds, and eventually they will, what do you call it when they sprout and give
sprout and grow.
There you go. But that's slow. The quick is where you're going to the store and buying stuff is the leads. So you need to be doing,
Right.
you should be doing both.
I'm a Kaiser area. So Kaiser is a captive company. Correct me if I'm wrong, Luis, you want to jump in? If you're in like California, the only way you can write Kaiser, and I hear this a lot, like there's like here in Tennessee, it's Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. You can broker that product in Tennessee, but like the Kaiser product is a captive product. But to understand, there's no major player in most markets that has 80% of the market share. It's pretty fractured. You'll see a lot of United Healthcare, but that may be 40, 50%. You know, there's still half of the other prospects that you can get somewhere else. And there's likely a plan when you know what kind of election period opportunities there are that you can flip them and to help them get something that's better. Sebastian says, I missed the beginning portion. What do you find to be the best lead source for marketing in Medicare? For me, and where 95% of our agents are at, is direct mail.
Right.
I know agents that do Facebook. Anthony Boba gets leads less than $2, automates the process, all preset appointments. It's a unique kind of proprietary program he doesn't share. So if you've got the marketing mind and the patience and the understanding of automations and sequential stuff with texting and emailing, you can go that route, but it's kind of, you know, nobody's really going to show you that on the Medicare side. I haven't found anybody that would be willing to. But what like John Dean, Luis, he in February, he wrote 100 Medicare plans, and he was doing that with direct mail. So that's what's cool about Medicare. You don't need to like come up with the marketing. You just buy leads and run appointments in person or over the phone. And don't worry about complicating. So I would say direct mail, just make sure that it's compliant. We know who's compliant, who to stay away from. That's a very important thing nowadays.
And you can run seminars. The other thing the other thing you can do is when I was out back in the street, back in the day, I was out in the street all the time. I would go here, at least in San Antonio, we have senior complexes. Yeah. So there'll be a 12-story building, only seniors, low income, part of the house, the HUD department, whatever. And what I would do there is I would show up when I had an appointment, but then I'd go talk to the manager at the bottom. Hey, can I do an event? They're like, oh, can you? Will you? They're like, we need stuff. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just do maybe a movie night, a bingo, loteria for the Hispanic area? You know, they're like, whatever. And so you can go out there and you can pitch your product, have a little fun with the seniors, and write a few Medicares. You know, it's kind of like one of those things. It's kind of farming again. But oh yeah, we have agents that do that too, and very
Alejandro's doing that. He's been doing food banks, and he gets leads every day. He puts a table out and does events, and he's writing more business he ever has in the 7 or 8 years he's worked with me. So
yeah, and the carriers will help you guys. The carriers will give you tabletops. They'll give you the cloths. They'll give you banners. They'll give you goodies to give away. And you can't give away a lot of goodies with Medicare, but they'll give you like the stress balls and back scratchers and jar openers and things like that. So the carriers will work with you.
If I'm contracted with a different IMO for under 65, am I able to contract with you guys for just Medicare? Is that okay too? Presently, at the moment, that's fine with us. If you want to do the Medicare side with us, that's fine. But again, I personally, the way we do recruiting is you got to be able to buy leads. You have to show evidence that you can purchase leads. We actually require a $500 deposit that's refundable when you buy leads. I'm at the point now, guys, we get so many people who are interested in working with us. We don't have time to work with people who won't invest in leads. It takes a lot of admin power to do contracting, for Luis to answer questions, for me to answer questions. And if you can't even invest money in leads, and that predictably gets you in front of good prospects, you're just not a good fit. So I want to be upfront, and I don't mean to be a jerk about this, but you know, we're kind of like running a business where we're qualifying our clients a little better. We know what works, and it requires money. We need to make sure that you're willing to put the money in.
And David, $500, guys. I just wrote a senior who had about 30 subways, and I asked him, what does it cost to open up a subway? $300K minimum.
Jeez. And
I'm like, all you're being asked to start this business is 500, and you're going to get it back in lead cost. It's kind of
yeah. It's an amazing business. It's such a low threshold of requirements to sell. You just get licensed, you get credentialed through AHIP, carrier credentialed. That's not a lot of work, not a lot of money relative to, you know, a restaurant. So yeah, and you should be willing to invest money, because the lack of it is what causes most people to fail. And if you treat this like a business and understand there's an investment, it makes more sense. Jay has a good question. When you die, what happens to your book of business if it at all Medicare Advantage? I heard that goes away.
It goes to me.
Goes to you, with you to the grave.
No,
you can take it to heaven.
No, I take over. No. When you you have I don't know the actual term, but you can sell your book. Okay, so in the Medicare world, that is a true phenomenon. You can sell your book of business. Okay, right. You can assign it to somebody. Like if I die, my wife, all she has to do is get certified, and in my will, and we've created a trust and all this, I have put that she will take over. The carrier needs to make sure that she's going to get licensed. She is licensed. She just needs to get appointed and certified, and they'll move the book over to whoever you want.
Right.
So
there's a way. Yeah.
It's perpetuality agreement, something like that. But yeah, when you die, you don't lose your book.
I've heard some people say if you sell a MedSup policy or a Medicare Advantage over the phone, there's a considerable higher chance that a face-to-face agent will pounce and replace the policy. Has that been the experience of your med telesales agents, or is this the face-to-face agents beating their chest? My opinion is it doesn't matter. I think if you ultimately take care of your client and work to get the best plan, telesales or face-to-face, you're likely going to do a better job and keep your clients. It kind of comes down to really the components of how you sell and how much you actually care and do the right job. The thing in Medicare where the real risks are, I think, where this kind of comes into play, are these mega call centers that are just churning operations. They don't care about the client. They just rinse and repeat and replace existing coverage. They're the ones that are pushing the commercials with the famous people like JJ Walker, Dynamite guy, Joe Namath ads. Like those people are the ones like, yeah, those get replaced, because a lot of my opinion is that the business they write isn't good quality. There's a lot of just questionable business they're writing. And if a good phone guy that's independent like the rest of us, or a face-to-face guy sees that and fixes it, yeah, of course it's easy, because it was done wrong to begin with. Luis?
Yeah. Here's my take on that. Who wants to be on the phone for an hour?
All right. Not me.
I mean, I'm watching Gunsmoke. I'm like, really? I mean, you're what's going in the ear out the other for a senior. Okay, so I will tell you that's tough. When you're face to face, you're shaking their hand, you're hugging them, you're in their personal space, you're in their house. Normally, you've created a relationship. Now you're real. You're not real when you're over the phone. They don't know you. Okay, they won't know you from any other agent that calls them tomorrow. So I do think that there's a higher chance of your book being replaced when you do telesales. Face to face, it's a little stickier. So I tell agents, hey, I love face to face. Now, and I have an office. I make my people come to me. Okay, but I've gotten to that point where I can request that. Now, I was on the street just like every other new agent, where I'm running 8 to 10 appointments a day, and I just eventually got to a point where I didn't have to. But face to face, I think that business will be a little more stickier.
Yeah, there's some chain of thought now on the YouTubes saying that face to face is awkward, strange, doesn't work, and that's ridiculous. Face to face works just as well as it ever has, arguably better because of the reasons Luis mentioned. But I do want to counter that in a sense. I think telesales works very well too. It's all in how you do your presentation, and do you care about your clients? Do you make that known on the phone? There's some things you can do and on the phone that work it out very well, so whatever works best for you is kind of how I'd instruct it. Ellen, yes, food banks. Yeah. You can sit out in front of food banks. You can do senior activity centers, senior living facilities. You can pay to do events. There are lots of different ways to prospect. Again, most agents need to be on a direct mail program, in my opinion, because it's just easier to start with, just put some money up, get some leads, and go to work. I agree. Hey, Narissa, are you going to have another Facebook ads discount coming later? Last month you have $500, huge help. Yeah, I sell courses here and there. So Bobby V's was, I think, the last one. We'll have another one.
I think we had, that's the one with Shauna where we had it.
Oh, yeah. We'll have her back. So I part of my business model, Narissa, is affiliate marketing. So I partner with different companies that do a good job of Facebook marketing, And at times I spam you guys to death for a week about how great it is. And they're good. They're all good. Everybody kind of, not one is perfect for everybody. So I have a variety. And so I like to offer that. So yeah, we'll definitely have more of that. And then, yes, to clarifying the investment, it's a $500 for us, not necessarily somewhere else, but we just want people who are committed financially to buying leads. You have to pay $500 up front. It's refundable when you buy leads. And we don't recruit people unless you're committed to invest at least $500 to $750 a week. That's enough to do full-time, maybe or sort of like 25, 30 hours of work to full-time work. If you can't do that and you can't sustain that for weeks at a time, this is not the business for you. I go back to what I said originally. I don't want to bring you into this business if you can't afford to get in front of people. Like, just because you've got a license and you're credentialed and you can sell Medicare doesn't mean that you're ready to. If you can't buy leads or invest in a lead system, it just doesn't matter, right? And we don't have time to train people that don't meet that requirement because, I mean, think about it. If we sit here and train somebody for hours and they can't even buy leads, it's a waste of time, right? So, Luis, to wrap this up, what do people do if they want to start? I got 2 minutes here.
All right, last 2 minutes. Super easy, guys. So I am the trainer, guys. That's my job. Once you contract and to get contracting started, you're going to get with David. Get with David. He'll send you contracting. Okay. Now, is it prior or before? Do we want to get certified?
Yeah, we want AHIP credentialed. And the way you get AHIP credentialed is if you guys go to the classroom section of the website, and let me pull it up here. I'm just going to show them, Luis, because they're on our insurance sales success site. So if you look under classroom here, oops, that's the wrong one. Let's go to the right one. Go to classroom, scroll down to freebies here, click for freebies. And if you look under the Medicare training section, you'll see AHIP. Just click that. And then when you go to check out through that link, the $50 off will apply. So there's a $50 savings. It'll be $125 total. You don't have to put anything in. It's $125, but you got to click that link, go through the process for everybody. So you need to do this first before you even do any contracting with us, right? Before we even get you into training. Because again, it's all for naught if you're not even AHIP credentialed, which is required to sell Medicare Advantage on top of a health insurance license. Okay, folks? So you got to get that done. Go ahead, Luis.
So AHIP, guys, and you're wondering, well, what the heck is AHIP? It is your Medicare 101 course. When you get it, you're still not going to know what to do, but you're going to understand the basics. You're going to know what Part A, Part B, C, D, G, N. You're going to know all the terminology out there. You're going to know enough that when you come to me, I don't have to teach you that. I'm going to get you straight into Medicare 201, okay, and presentation and how to talk to a client. I don't have the time to teach you the basics, and that's what AHIP is. Now, in addition to AHIP, so you would do AHIP, you'll knock that out. Then you get contracted. Then the carrier is going to say, hey, great, you're contracted now, but you still can't sell. You have to do our certification. So Humana, Aetna, United, they're all going to have their certifications. You go take their test, you pass, then you get ready to sell. They send you an email. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, you are ready to sell. Knock yourself out. Then at that point, David turns you over to me. We have our own school platform for Medicare agents, and you plug into my training. So my training is 2 days a week, guys. On Tuesdays is my sales and marketing. So I bring in a carrier. Today I had a GTL talking about their short-term home health care plan. So I bring in either carriers to talk about their products, or I will interview one of our successful agents. Then on Thursdays, 8:30 a.m. Central, I do my 8 to 9 week Medicare 101 course. Okay, so I literally will take you from I don't know squat. I just know, I know the Medicare alphabet, but I don't know what the heck to do. I take you from there all the way to class 9, where we're bundling products, we're making presentations, you're knowing how to do a Medicare analysis, how to take some of their data and come up with a course of action for that senior. By the time you're done with me, you are good to go. You're out in the field and you're rocking and rolling. Then, as you know, in school, there's a community tab. So we have that tab on our school platform where you can go and you can post questions. I monitor it, I answer it. We've got 500 plus agents on that platform right now. And so we're all helping each other out. Great way to ask questions. And then you got me, guys. This is the only thing I tell agents. Look, all right, I've missed a few calls, but normally I get all my calls, guys. And I tell agents this, look, I make my cell phone. You all will have my personal cell. Okay. Now, I tell agents, I'm the guy you're going to call when you're stuck. Not when you have an idea, not when you're like, I'm going to visit with a client. No, all that can go into school. I'm the guy you're going to call when you're sitting in front of a client and you're stuck. I'm like, Luis, unstuck me. I'm like, okay, hit me. What's the problem? And I've been doing this for so long that you're not going to stuck me at this point. Very rarely do I get stumped. But I'll get you out of that jam that you're in so that you can close. Because here's my story, guys. When I started, I did the very same thing. I called my upline. I got a call back a week later. Hey, Luis, how can I help you? I'm like, man, shut up. I already lost that sale. I needed your help a week ago. Well, I'm here to help you. I'm like, I don't even know what the question was. I don't even know what my problem was. It was a week. And I was like, no. So when we built our organization, this organization that we have of agents, I was like, you know what? When you're stuck, yeah, there's some times when I can't answer. I mean, I play some tennis or I'm out at dinner, but normally I can try to get to it. Business hours, I'm 99% on track. But that's what we do, David.
Luis, thank you so much for being here, guys. And again, if you'd like more information on how working with us works, like I said, Luis works with us. He trains, but he doesn't recruit. He doesn't take your calls to talk about recruiting. That's where our job is at DeFord Insurance Group. So if you go to daviddeford.com/FAQ, you'll learn more about how the process works to do Medicare. And then every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, I also have a open mic Q&A call where you can ask questions. It's going to be tomorrow at 11 and every week thereafter. And I'll be happy to provide information, details, how things work, and go into a little bit more detail. Maybe you have questions after this and you're kind of wondering, and that's the time to come on and ask a question. So pop in at that call. And in the meantime, thank you everybody for being here. Hope you guys had a fantastic time and learned a little bit about how Medicare works and the sales process, at least. Special thank you to Luis Moreno. Thanks for taking an hour out of your day to do this. Really appreciate it, man, as always. And we shall see y'all next time. Y'all have a good one. See you
guys. Glad y'all were here.